everybody, and welcome to Nathan on Shuffle and to my latest episode of New Music Weekly. It's September 24th, 2022, and this is the show where I give you guys the top 5 prog news headlines of the week, talk about some recent prog singles that have come out, and give you some updates on the channel. So if you'd like to subscribe, that would be much appreciated. I do this show every week, usually on either Friday or Saturday. And I just like to be a place to give you guys what's happening in the world of prog, according to what I've discovered from my sources. So it's always a fun time. I'd also appreciate a like or a comment on the video. Helps to support the channel. And just grateful for all the support I've gotten thus far. So thank you guys so much. So getting into the news this week, I always like to start my shows with some of the latest releases of albums that have come out. Several interesting releases came out yesterday, September 23rd. First, we have Banco del Mutuo Soccorso with their new album, Orlando Le Forme dell'Amore. This is a legendary Italian progressive rock group that's been around for quite some time. They're celebrating their 50th anniversary, in fact, and this is an ambitious concept record that they've just released that sounds pretty good to my ears, so I definitely want to point it out and let you guys know about it. I'll put a single also in the description as one of my prog singles for their official music video for La Pianura Rossa. So really cool group, really interesting concept record that really harkens back to that classic Italian prog sound. Really fun, and I apologize for any wrong pronunciation when it comes to that band, but really appreciate what they're doing, and even at their age that they're really sounding fresh and really fun and inventive, so really appreciate that. Kings of Mercia released their self-titled record. This is a force between Jim Matheos, guitarist and mastermind of Fate's Warning, and bringing in FM singer Steve Overland onto the group. So it's a really cool hard rock type of band with some really cool melodies and really fun stuff. Some AOR styles and things like that with little touchstones of prog metal in the mix. So they've added bassist Joey Vera, who's in Fate's Warning, Armored Saints, legendary drummer Simon Phillips as well as on the album. So it's a good pedigree of musicians and it sounds really great. Great production, great sound to it. And then also a release from Virgil and Steve Howe called Lunar Mist. Of course, Steve Howe is legendary guitarist from back in the day and up all the way till now. Virgil Howe is his son, who unfortunately passed away in August 2017. So this is somewhat of a posthumous work that they worked together on, taking some of those things that Virgil Howe worked on and persevering with that project, and Steve Howe taking that and creating an album from those works. So it should be definitely a good album to check out. I believe it's mostly instrumental music and really has some really nice flavors to it, some great sounds. Howe's acoustic guitar is over it, and some Virgil keyboard lines as well. Should be interesting to check out if you're into Steve Howe and more of a atmospheric instrumental style album. So that's the new releases that have stood out to me in the prog realm. Please let me know in the comments below if there's other new releases that have come out that I failed to mention here. I always like to hear about what's coming out and checking out all the newest prog albums, so definitely let me know there. Prog news item number 2, Big Train share a video of Brave Captain from their upcoming Summer Shall Not Fade live at Loreley double disc Blu-ray set. I believe it's a Blu-ray and a double CD is coming out with this legendary performance from the Night of the Prog Festival on July 13th, 2018 at Loreley in Germany. That's when the live performance took place. This actual set is coming out October 14th, 2022, including a lot of classic material from the Underfall Yard, English Electric, Folklore, and Grimspound. Some fan favorite deep cuts as well, like Kingmaker and Summer's Lease. So it features the full band, features David Lungden, 5-piece brass section. Really remarkable show, especially considering it was only the band's 8th live show in this incarnation with this group of musicians. So really incredible group. One of my favorite groups, obviously. I talk about Big Train a lot. And so this disc has been announced for quite some time, this live set. But this is a new live video that I think is worth checking out. It'll be one of the Prog singles below as well. Brave Captain, of course, is the big opening track from Grimspound, one of their big, cool, epic pieces that I think is really great and indicative of the band's sound. So this should just be a great package to check out. Definitely a must-have for all fans of Big Big Train, and a great testament to David Lungden and his contributions to the band. Of course, David Lungden unfortunately passed away last year, so but this somewhat celebrates his impact in the band, and so it's important in that fashion. And there's also a posthumous solo album being released by David Lungden, I believe on the same date. So a lot of cool stuff coming from the Big Big Train camp, along with them playing some live dates. Even though there was a little bit of dates needing to be moved around and canceled and so forth, but they played a few dates, good reports coming from those, and it seems like they have a lot of activity planned for the next year, so really exciting for the Big Big Train camp. Item number 3, Frost launch a video for Skywards ahead of their November 2022 UK tour dates. So Skywards is a track from their last album that came out last year, Day and Age, which is one of my favorites from that year. Definitely placed high on my list of favorite albums. One of my favorite groups, a great neo-prog group that takes classic sounds from Prog's heyday, but very much modernizes it and makes it sound much more in the current age, and maybe a little bit of an 80s sound aesthetic, especially in this Day and Age album. Jim Godfrey is somewhat of the mastermind of the project, who really helmed it, and John Mitchell is also involved, so a really cool band. And Skywards is a great track from that album, so I recommend you check out the video. Once again, one of the Prog singles you can check out in the description. Really cool stuff if you want to get a taste of the band. I'm sure many of you already know and are familiar with this band. So they have some interesting dates coming up, some live dates in the UK, starting at the end of November and moving into December a little bit. Not a ton of dates. I see 5 listed here, but should be a cool little tour, a good chance to see this band live, and should be a fun time. So definitely check out Frost. Item number 4 on the Prog news list, kind of an interesting, the last 2 items here are just more amusing than actual news perhaps, but I saw an article come up about Pink Floyd, and it asked, are Pink Floyd about to recreate the Animals sleeve at Battersea Power Station? Somewhat of a cryptic message came out on their Twitter and Facebook on September 23rd, accompanied by the image of modern Battersea skyline with a flying pig visible in the sky, reading, to mark the release of Pink Floyd's Animals 2018 remakes, London's Battersea Power Station will be eminently suitable canvas next Wednesday and Thursday between 8:30 p.m. and 11 p.m. with a sneak peek on Tuesday night at the same time as a test run. So something's afoot. Something should happen there. It sounds interesting. Of course, the classic Animals cover, I believe, took place at this location. Very iconic as well. They just released the 2018 remakes of Animals last week. I probably should have mentioned it in last week's show, but it's a really notable remakes release that a lot of people are really enjoying. Animals is one of their big seminal prog albums that a lot of people enjoy quite a bit, as well as I do. The cover of the more recent remakes album shows a more contemporary view of Battersea with a pink pig floating between the chimneys, but the skyline has since changed due to ongoing modernization works, so it's a little bit of a different landscape and a different look, but should be interesting to see what's going to happen there and what this cryptic message may mean in the future. So something to more stay tuned for, I guess, than actual news that's currently occurring. So should be interesting to check out, something that I'm keeping my eye on. And let me know in the comments what you think about this, or if I'm getting it a little mixed up, you can help clarify. But that's what I've heard circulating around the Prog streets a little bit here. All right, so item number 5, another kind of quirky, odd item that I saw that just interested me because I really like Jordan Rudess. This is Jordan Rudess's cheeky letter to Leonard Bernstein from back when he was, I believe, 8 years old. It's been uncovered. Some items from Leonard Bernstein's collection from the Library of Congress, I believe. Dream Theater keyboardist Jordan Rudess wrote a note that was pretty funny here. "Dear Mr. Bernstein, how long do you practice?" he asked. I have your picture? I'm 8 years old." And then he says, getting a little bit cocky, "I think I play better than you, boasts Rudess. Do you want any advice?" So I thought that was a funny turn in the letter there, that Rudess, even as a young child, was very confident about his abilities as a pianist. And he is, very incredible as a pianist now. So maybe not too far off the mark in reality, who knows. But of course, really funny, and the letter was uncovered by the library's music reference specialist Heather Darnell, who spoke to Rudess about this, and Rudess now said, "Well, it's really amazing that you guys dug that up, totally mind-blowing. My family was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I'm amazed my mother left that out the door. I'm amazed my mother let that out the door. Maybe she thought it was really cute." And when asked about who the better pianist was, Rudess responded with, "I don't think at 8 years old I was playing better than him. He was a pretty darn good pianist, really so talented." The thing that is so fun about the letter being to Leonard Bernstein is that, like him, I have also crossed boundaries in my career. Started out as a classical musician, went to Juilliard at 9, then left when I was 19 and decided to do other things. I got into rock and progressive rock and eventually metal and a lot of different stuff. And Leonard Bernstein, of course, was the king of crossing boundaries and working within whatever genre. So just cool connection there between Leonard Bernstein, a classical composer, and Jordan Rudess, who feels like he has some kinship to him and is influenced by him. So just a cute little story that I thought was worth sharing and kind of fun. Some little bonus items that I had listed out here as possible items for the top 5 Prog headlines. Roger Waters announces UK arena shows for his first farewell tour, kind of a funny name, first farewell. So we'll see how many farewell tours there may be for Roger Waters. But Waters will launch this UK mini tour in Birmingham on May 31st at the Utilita Arena, before moving on to Glasgow's OVO Hydro on June 2nd, performing at London's O2 on June 6th. So should be an interesting little bit of news there. New Gandalf's Fist album, Widdershins, is in the works, coming out later this year. There's a short video trailer for that one. Elder, a great heavy prog band, announced a new album coming out, I believe November 25th, called Innate Passage for November. So if you're a fan of Elder, that's coming out. And then Rick Wakeman performing classic solo albums at 2 of his London shows in 2023. The first show, we'll see him perform The Six Wives of Henry VIII during the first act, and during the second, he'll turn his attention towards the myths and legends of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. The second show, on February 23rd, will dedicate the first act to classic Yes material, and then the second to 1974 album Journey to the Center of the Earth. So really interesting there. Should be kind of fun to see Rick Wakeman revisiting some classic material. And then in the Prog singles, I've mentioned many of them already in the Prog News headlines, but we've got Big Big Train's Brave Captain live performance from their upcoming live album, Frost and their new video for Skywards from Day and Age, Banco del Mutuo's Soccorso and their new video for La Pianura Rosa to celebrate their release of their new album. But I've also got a video from Charlie Griffiths, of course the legendary guitarist of Haken, called Digging Deeper, a track from his album that came out earlier this year, Tiktalika. And then I found out this just recently, Hourglass, their track Voids Within. Hourglass is a really cool USA-based prog metal band. Their last album came out 13 years ago, called Oblivious to the Obvious, an album I really liked back when I was in college that I listened to repeatedly. So really fun to see new material from them. This is actually a 25-minute epic progressive rock journey to check out. So that's in the description as well, celebrating their return and an upcoming album called Voids and Visions. So that's really the news that I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed what I had for you for the channel itself and updates what's happening here. Did a Spock's Beard ranking this week that I was really proud of, gotten some good comments and responses, so thank you guys so much for checking that one out. It's been really great to read your guys' comments and have some little bits of discussion about it. This week I also talked about some concerts that I've attended, my top 5 concerts in my latest top 5 series. Some really great comments there too about people's experiences going to concerts. Everyone else has way better stories and experiences about concerts than me, because I haven't been to many, admittedly, because of my age and because of my anxiety and other issues, and just limited availability of bands I like coming around my area. But it's fun to be able to talk about, and I do like live shows, and I have one coming up in a week's time to see Porcupine Tree with my dad. So when they do come around, they're special experiences, and so that was fun to talk about. Have a great Prog Song Sunday coming this week. Big epic track, as you might expect. If you saw last week's episode, we did the shortest track on my list last week, and now we're going to do the longest. Probably won't be what most of you are expecting, perhaps, but I think it's going to be a fun time regardless, so hopefully you'll check it out, even if you're not as familiar with the song we're covering. It's definitely a good one that's worthy of your attention. And this week, just a new top 5. Hopefully I'll be able to edit the new classic albums that me and Janet did, talking about Boston's self-titled record, which we both really loved. And coming up shortly, probably in a couple weeks' time, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, hoping to do my next New Music Shuffle and recommend some albums that have been coming out lately that I've been wanting to talk about. So a lot of stuff coming up. Hopefully you enjoy something in that list and are excited for what's to come on the channel. So thank you guys so much for your support once again. It's really fun to do these videos, and I'm really grateful for a positive community who's very forgiving of my weaknesses and who's willing to hang with me. And I know I'm not perfect at this, but I'm getting better, so I'm glad you guys are willing to stick with me through my journey here. So thank you guys so much, and I hope to catch you guys in another video. So thank you guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Enjoy the music. Bye everybody.